Now, I made a video talking about the ban that Asmongold got on Twitch for expressing that he doesn't care about the situation in the Middle East. And you're not allowed to do that. It is forbidden. You as a content creator should never have any type of opinions. What you need to do is to pay taxes and allow the government to have the opinions for you. But, it took like 5 hours for Asmongold to apologize, and because he did apologize, he got banned. Now, it's important to point out that there were a lot of left-leaning people that were absolutely seething at Asmongold. They do not like the fact that the ban is popular, because, again, the culture is like, how can we allow certain things to be expressed? And because Asmongold doesn't want pronouns in video game and he doesn't like ugly women on the box art of video games, left-leaning people were absolutely furious, but it looks ridiculous if you try to push against that. So they were just waiting for a reason. They just needed something to happen so that they can act that they're very outraged and it's beyond the pale and he needs to get banned. And it did, right? So now every single leftist who was asleep when Hassan Piker had an actual terrorist on stream or when he said that America deserved 9/11 are now just unable to grasp, like they're unable to comprehend that in modern day America, someone like Asmongold can say such awful things about a Middle Eastern conflict. And they were like, oh, we can't live like this. Like, this is just not acceptable. Like, we as a society have to do better. We have to worship what's happening in the Middle East, right? Like, kind of like that. But to their dismay and horror, it seems that the fans of Asmongold, en masse, do not agree with Asmongold's apology, right? And this is horrifying because, again, like, they are like the gardeners of culture. They view themselves as the moral people in society that try to pave the way for how decent human beings should react. And when they realize that they're actually in a minority, and most people were agreeing with what Asmongold was saying, and they are now giving the middle finger, both to the people that were trying to cancel Asmongold, and worse of all, like giving the middle finger to Twitch, which again is unthinkable. Like, how can you give the middle finger to an American for-profit corporation? Like, there is nothing more wise in America right now, not even the Catholic Church, than a social media company. Like, the social media company decides what is and what isn't moral. So even when you say something that's not dangerous, that doesn't put anyone's life at risk, that should be by all means considered freedom of expression, we need to look at Twitch and say, like, Twitch, is this fine? Like, can we say it? Is it okay? Because I see Hassan Piker has a terrorist on stream. So, like, can we articulate what we believe? Can we say? And Twitch is going to issue the dictate, the comunicat, and they're going to say, no, like, this is not something we stand for. Like, our leftist friends do not stand for it, so therefore you're not allowed to say it, or else you get Asmongolded. But again, like, it's so bizarre, right? That, like, average people get to give the middle finger to Twitch. Like, who the fuck do they think they are? The peasant. So you have, like, on Twitter right now, a lot of left-leaning people that are very concerned, they're very worried, and they're basically saying this is unironically a major part of how right-wingers have been able to maintain social media control for decades now. Because yes, this is apparently what happens when you go onto any single forum, you go to Reset Era, you go to Twitch, it's incredibly right-wing, right? Like, everyone wants less taxes, everyone, I guess, wants stronger borders and less crime. It's like a right-wing hellscape on the internet right now. And they encourage you to be a worse person, right? By embracing genuinely evil traits about yourself and then reward you monetarily if they do so. It's like, like the fact that these people live in such a bubble, like so disconnected and detached from reality, I find it absolutely hilarious. I mean, the whole thing with the Middle Eastern conflict, right? The way a woke person has to talk about it is to completely ignore the LGBT policies that Palestine has in place, right? In order to create the gays for Palestine nonsense, because this is what Asmongold was actually talking about. He was basically saying that in America, the type of culture is a lot more permissible and tolerant to LGBT groups than you have in other places, and this is why he considered that culture superior. But apparently it's a violation on Twitch, like you can't express that. So you gotta say, no, like the Palestinian culture, that's like the Democrats. That's like the Twitch admins. There's no difference. You can just pick and choose whatever you want to do. In fact, I'm willing to bet if you had the time machine and you brought the Aztecs from the past into the present, and they have like their human sacrifices, and they have slavery, and they have imperialism, it's still a valid culture, right? Like, you can't insult that. I mean, it's just another culture. It's their way of doing things. You cannot say that our culture is superior than what they are doing, because that would be horrible. You'd get banned from Twitch. I do wonder, though, like, if you bring the Nazis, right? Like, if you bring Nazi Germany from the past into today, can you say that what the Nazis are doing is inferior, or, like, you're not allowed? Again, the Twitch TOS is very clear on the fact that you are not allowed to say that any other culture is inferior than what the United States is having. So what you need to do is, as a woke person, you need to completely forget that you have the knowledge of the LGBT rights in Palestine, and you need to just not talk about it, right? Like, you just need to remove that from the equation. And if someone talks about it, you just pretend you don't know what the fuck they're on about. You just pretend that there is no inconsistency, there is no, right? Like, because the thing is, like, you can't be woke and champion LGBT issues and then fly the LGBT flag, and at the same time also say that, no, like, this culture, which is oppressive towards the groups that I support, is a valid culture, is perfectly fine, while at the same time criticizing America for not doing enough in order to champion LGBT rights. Because then it boggles the mind. It's like, okay, so, like, if you have people that do not like the rainbow flag, like, what you're suggesting is that they adopt the Palestinian culture, and then you'd be fine. But if they adopt, like, a more traditional American culture, then it's hateful and bigoted. Nothing makes sense, right? Nothing is consistent, nothing is logical, and this is why people are saying that Asmongold shouldn't have apologized, because whether you agree with him or not, at least his take has some logic. Like, this is how he's thinking. He's a champion of the LGBT queer folks, and because of that, he doesn't like other cultures that aren't LGBTQ queer folks friendly. And the left is livid. It's livid because, like, people are now saying that, no, he shouldn't have apologized. Which, to be honest, he shouldn't. Because at the end of the day, what exactly does it accomplish? He still got banned. He's still getting kicked off from places. He's still losing sponsors. The only thing is, like, it's more difficult for people to defend him now, because they can say, well, yeah, but, like, look, I mean, he himself admits that he is wrong. And this is not even a left-wing or a right-wing debate. This is just, like, a question is, like, why is it that for-profit, multi-million-dollar corporations think that they should be able to shape morality in society? Like, I understand, you know, when it comes to free speech, that it's something in the Constitution that is between the government and people, but it's also a spirit, right? Because people voted for that Constitution. And if people change their mind tomorrow that free speech isn't important, they can also vote to repeal it. So, the whole take is that you should be able, as a grown adult, to have opinions. And if the opinions are bad, then people should just unsubscribe. Now, there is, of course, the concept when the opinions are harmful or you're putting other people in danger, like threats, blackmail, fighting words. Like, okay, we get that. But nothing that Asmongold said puts anyone in danger. Nothing that Asmongold said is actually capable of creating real world harm, because he's not the US politician. He doesn't start a political movement. He doesn't even, like even if he wanted the conflict in the Middle East to stop, he wouldn't be able to accomplish that, right? But what you're saying is that, no, that shouldn't be. What we need to have is Twitch deciding that Hassan Piker having an actual terrorist on stream, that is fine. You're allowed to think like that. But, like, some other guy just saying that he doesn't care about what's happening in the Middle East, that is beyond the pale, that is unthinkable. No one should say that. We shouldn't allow people to say that. And this is when the audience is like, hold on a little bit, there is no we, right? It's you guys. And we do not like this. We do not like this type of mentality where you get to decide what content creators speak or not. Again, if it's not illegal, if it's not putting anyone in danger, what's the problem, right? So this is why people are upset that Asmongold apologized. And the idea is like, oh, you're a better person. Like, why? Oh, you're a better person because you care about something that's happening across the world and the mainstream media talks about it. Because that's also an important, by the way, you know? Like, there's so many conflicts that are going on and no one talks about it. Like, for instance, the conflict in Myanmar. How often did you hear content creators talk about Myanmar? Probably not. Why? Because the American media didn't give a fuck. So like all of a sudden no one cares, right? But because the American media talks about this shit, then we need to care and we need to sympathize. And it's like, I do, you know, I sympathize so much. I sympathize as much as some of the most empathetic people on the planet when it comes to this, which has to be, of course, the Palestinians. Because when there were terrorist attacks in Europe, and when I was worried for my cousin because she was living in France and there was like almost a terrorist attack a day, I understand that the people in Palestine were also very sympathetic and they condemned the violence and they disavowed and they changed their social media posts to show the French flag and they were very supportive. Like some of them even learned English so that they can communicate with the Christians and say, hey, look, your Muslim brothers from Palestine, they stand with you, right? And they were selling merchandise and they were like, so I can only reciprocate when that happens. I can always be, you know, like, well, but unfortunately, like, no matter how much I care and no matter how much everyone around me care, I still can't influence the conflict, right? Like, I don't have Benjamin Netanyahu on my phone line so I can be, Benjamin, please stop it. You're upsetting Twitch. Benjamin, you got the Asmongold ban. Come on, man. It's time to stop. You know, he doesn't listen to me. I tried, but I couldn't. Maybe if Donald Trump gets into office, maybe Donald Trump will talk to him, right? Because now Joe Biden has tried, didn't work. I don't think Kamala Harris can. So I think this is what left-leaning people is trying to tell us, like, vote Donald Trump so that maybe he can convince Benjamin Netanyahu to stop his shenanigans, which, again, were happening before I was born, are happening while I'm alive, and they will still happen long after I'm dead. So maybe Donald Trump is the one, you know, because this is the most important topic, right? Like, this is so pressing issue that you're willing to ban people over it. So there should be no other conversation until this gets resolved. And the only way forward is like, okay, Joe Biden couldn't do shit about it. Kamala couldn't do shit about it. Maybe Trump can. So like this, everyone needs to vote Trump. If you're a left-leaning person and you support Palestine, you gotta vote Trump because, you know, it's another person that can get into the conversation and talk to Netanyahu. Look at his track record. Like, Trump's track record was to get all the Middle Eastern countries at the table. Yeah. No, I think this is a left-leaning policy now. It's elect Donald Trump. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.